here because I have regret. And I would venture a guess that most of you have regret of one form or another. And I'm also here to tell you that regret isn't a bad thing. So that's why regret. I'm going to talk about my regret, what's a healthy response to regret, and how can you use regret to empower your future. So a motivational speaker, why would you pick regret? Well, 5 steps to betterness was already gone, so I thought I needed something a little more motivational. So I thought, well, failure training, that's maybe a good thing to get into. People are training for success when they should be training for failure. Failure is far more common than success. So I'm here to motivate you to fail. Actually, I'm here to motivate you to use your failures for something positive. After I named my presentation, Unleashing the Power of Regret, I found out that Tony Robbins actually has this Unleashing the Power Within. And I mean, if you're going to go up against the top motivational speaker on the planet, it's kind of difficult. But he has this thing where they walk over coals at his presentation, and it's called Mind Over Matter. Well, I say, if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. 21 people at one of his presentations walked over the coals, and they all got third-degree burns. I think the most regret would be the 21st guy. I had 20 opportunities to improve on this, and I still did it. I think number 22 is going, hey, no, that's okay. Anyway, so we have regret in our lives. We have things that can shape and mold us. So I've got a whole pile of words here. Sometimes they would be related to regret. The one that I probably have that's most related to regret is guilt. And guilt is this fact of knowing you did something wrong. Well, most of you probably read the synopsis before you came in. I know I did something wrong, and it resulted in losing some fingers on my hand. It was just something really simple, something completely preventable. And that was a guilt for me because I did it. I moved my guilt back to regret by the steps that I'm going to give you today. So hopefully you can see regret as a positive thing as well. Regret can really weigh you down. This is just down the street from where I live. I was like, man, that's a heavy load for that car. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me at Duane Janiskevich. And these are some other folks. I just did hashtag regret. So angry at the fact once you do something, there's no taking it back. It's just done. It is what it is. I miss the way things were, and I wish I never said a thing. It's out there. I'm seriously regretting not buying the Vancouver Canucks hoodie I saw today. What was I thinking? This is my personal favorite. I should have not had that volcano burrito before practice today. So, a short memory. Kind of ironic, I put Stampeders on here when Drew Tate said, I didn't remember the first half. But the Stampeders actually only review their game tape for 2 days. So it's about learning what you can off those 2 days and moving forward. So I'm not here to say, yeah, regret's great for you. Keep it around your entire life and learn from it. You should learn from it. It should be an experience, but it shouldn't be something you're reliving over and over again. Ronald Duane, does that ring any bells? He helped found Apple in 1976. He received his 10% stake in Apple for $800. He basically cashed it back in. If he kept his 10% stock, it would be worth $35 billion. The big thing is he says, I have no regrets. Like, I don't know, I would kind of regret that. But he's taken that and moved forward, but it's still a regret. And I don't know why it's the way our society is. We don't believe you should have any regrets. Well, we do have regrets. But if you've learned from them, that's the big thing. The funny story with Ronald Duane, I did a little more research on him, is he was invited back to Apple on 2 different occasions after this. And he said no. So sometimes pride gets in the way of our regrets. We're not able to completely move forward because we're too proud of where we are or what we've done. it's kind of like, anybody here ever fall down? You always get up and look around. I mean, if nobody saw it, it didn't happen. Here's the rules for being human. You will learn lessons. There are no mistakes, only lessons. A lesson is repeated until it's learned. If you don't learn the lessons, they get harder, and you'll know when you've learned a lesson when your actions change. I'm going to talk about my regret. This is a little surface insight. My daughter had this iPod, just got it for Christmas. Like a week later, she's outside. I don't even know why she was outside. She was jumping around doing something, and it came out of her pocket, smashed it. She never even got back to school. I mean, it was still the first week of January. And she comes in the house, and I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did this. She's so mad. I was like, what happened? And I was like worried actually for her safety. And she said, well, I broke my iPod. I was like, well, good, it's just that. I thought it was something worse. But I mean, those things are crazy fragile. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's a pretty good market to be in. This is my deeper insight. The next slide is a little nasty. So if you don't want to look at it, just look down and it'll be over. Close your eyes, the feeling passes, all that sort of thing. This is a preventable injury. That's my hand. 3 pins in my hand. 2 in my thumb, 1 on my middle finger. Because I did something that I knew better than to do it. I regret it. Okay, now you can look up again. This is sanitized. Because now it doesn't look all freaky, it's just an x-ray. I use a table saw for something I should have used a jigsaw for. All I had to do was cut a corner out of a little piece of wood. My safety presentation is called Stop Cutting Corners. But the reason is, we all do things that we know we shouldn't. We do things that we get away with sometimes, and sometimes we don't. And in this situation, what saved me maybe a minute to go get the right tool, maybe 5 minutes, ended up like that, a whole pile of pain. The first thing I had was disbelief. So I ran this through the saw, and I pulled the wood back from the saw. That's the biggest mistake I made. The other thing I did was I did a freehand cut, and I'll show you that a little later on. But when I started to pull it back, the blade just grabbed it, and it threw that piece of wood at me as hard as it could. They say about 110 kilometers an hour. So the smaller the piece of wood, the more of a projectile it is. And it hit my hand, and it was just like, bang, instant pain. Like some people said, oh yeah, I cut my finger off and didn't even notice. I'll tell you, I noticed. It wasn't like, I'm going to try that again. Before I even looked down, I said, I want a do-over. That was just way too simple. But you know, life is full of spots where you don't get a do-over. I think this, to a large degree, I have had a do-over. I still got pretty good use of my hand. But at that point in time, I was like, that's crazy. Then I looked down at my hand. My middle finger was sitting inside my hand. My thumb was inside my hand. And the other 2 fingers were underneath the table saw. And I just screamed, no! Just couldn't believe what I had done. I taught industrial arts for 5.5 years. Do I look like your shop teacher? I mean, what happens is complacency. You get complacent because you know how to use something. That fear is driven away from you. So I had this heavy, heavy disbelief. But that's followed quickly by anger. How could I have done that? How could I have done something so stupid? So I yelled again, just because that's a good way to communicate with your wife. I yelled no again, and I ran to the door, and I opened the door up to the house because I was in the garage. And I said, call 911, call a hospital, I'm going to hurt bad, I got fingers missing and everything. And she's like right beside the phone, boom, 911, she's talking on the phone. My son comes up the stairs from playing this video game, and he never actually played that video game again. He never used it again. It was Mario Sluggers. But he's like, Dad, I was so grossed out. He said, I just wanted to throw up, but I knew you needed help. I was trying to shake my hand from him so he couldn't see it. I was kind of holding my other hand up there. And I said, I need you to grab that rag and tie my arms up. And maybe I said it that way, because he started tying both my arms up. I'm like, no, the damaged one? So then he tied this one up, and then I went into the house. And again, I just started, I'm so stupid. And the reason I brought up my daughter's slide is because it was the exact same spot in our house where she was, oh, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid. All that negative self-talk as I was coming in. Again, I'm working on this motivational speaker thing. But it was all this negative self-talk, which didn't do anybody any good. I said, I'm going to pass out. I can feel I'm getting faint. And I could just feel everything was draining, I guess, from me. She said, he feels like he's going to pass out. Tell him to sit down. Sit down! So I sat down by the wall, and I said, we got to go. We can't wait. They're already on their way. I said, we got to go. Let's go. She said, no, they're already coming. First responders are coming. It was the fire department that came. I said, oh, wait a minute, I can hear something. And then I could see the lights, and then there they were. Comes up the stairs, and at this point in time, I'm just kind of tapping my head against the wall, and I'm so frustrated. He said, who needs the help here? Like, I mean, maybe the guy with the... I said, that'd be this idiot right here. And he said, how you feeling, sir? Really stupid. That was just that anger. And then I said, I feel like bashing my head right through this wall. He said, that wouldn't be a good idea. So that was my anger. And I had this brokenness. My hand, they told me my thumb was shattered. My doctor's words were, don't have any hope for your thumb. And I thought, too bad for you, buddy. I got all kinds of hope for my thumb. But he was my doctor. He said it was all just tiny little pieces that they actually put back together. So I remember coming out of the surgery, like I said, 6 hours, and the nurse said it was a miracle, the way everything fit together. This is the guilt part. This is what my owner's manual said. So when I was teaching industrial arts, I always went through the owner's manual. I read everything, because I was scared like crazy about it. But freehand cutting is the major cause of kickback and finger hand amputations. When I talk to safety guys, I say, well, replace table saw with whatever tool you're using. I don't care if it's a table saw. What are you using that could be dangerous? And I had, oh sorry, this is kind of wrong too, but loss. I just had this loss. I mean, when you're regretting something, then you have that loss. You can't believe you did that. I spent hours looking at my hand. Then I threw a pity party. Hey, everybody come. I said, if I don't have fingers, I don't have floss in my teeth. Done. Because, I mean, how are you going to get back there, right? Well, they got these little things. They're great. You know, you can use that, and it does the job. I didn't stay in the pity party very long. I thought it wouldn't be very advantageous to have rotted teeth in my head either. So, uncertainty. A lot of uncertainty about what was going on. And again, maybe this is something inside of a project, something's gone sideways, you have no clue what you're going to do next. Look on the risk chart, figure out what the steps are. Disappointment. This is not called dismemberment. Apparently, I would have had to lose my finger back at this point to be called dismemberment. So the rule is all 4 fingers at the first knuckle. This guy isn't working so great. All 4 fingers across there, or the finger and the thumb, the finger here and the thumb here, just for future reference. I felt like going and finishing the job. I was so upset that this wasn't classified as dismemberment. I was like, really? But you know what? That little finger is so handy. I mean, I can run a drill, I can do a whole pile of stuff. It's a little shorter than this guy. Old one, but healthy response to regret. So the first thing is forgiveness. And I had to look inward. I actually said the words out loud. Duane, I forgive you. I forgive you for doing this. Nobody else pulled the trigger on me. I did it. Joyce Meyer said, unforgiveness is like drinking poison, hoping the other person will die or hoping whatever. But poison isn't really that good for you. So try to get rid of it. And forgiveness is the first step. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting about it. Forgiveness means taking responsibility for it, learning from it, and getting into the present. So moving forward. How do we move forward from that? Making new choices. Perspective was huge. So for me, at first, I had this thing. I had my hand right in front of my face. I couldn't see anything past it. But perspective is very important. So I can say, hey, look at what I have. 41 years, I hardly use this thing. Oh, my left hand works just fine. There's a lot of things I had to transfer over. There's a lot of things I can still do with my right hand. Well, my first day to Wascana Rehab. The Wascana Rehab in Regina has a place called the Hand Clinic. Figure out that. I talked to the doctor. I said, how many times do you have people coming in here with injuries? I said, it just snowed today. Somebody will come in with their snowblower, had something going on. I did a presentation just the other day. A guy told me there was 2 guys that he knows, I guess, they were going to trim the hedges with a lawnmower. And they went down and grabbed the lawnmower, and both of them lost fingers in their hands. Like, ew. Anyways, I sidetracked myself. Perspective is important. Perspective is seeing past the situation, looking for possible solutions. So what can we do to change this? Glad to see you're not texting. If you threw your problems in a pile, and you saw everybody else's problems there, you'd go and pick yours back from that. And the reason I know this is an old copy is because I fixed that after I got here this morning. Distorted reality. So are you making this regret or this problem much worse than it actually is? Are you looking at this like, there is no way this project is going to survive. There's no way that I can move forward. To me, the picture in the bowl is kind of what my hand looked like. I saw the first time I saw that picture, the one that was kind of raw, and I had my hand sitting up there, I just cried. Couldn't believe I was going to look like that for the rest of my life. And I just thought, oh man, anybody who sees me is just going to say, what did you do? Well, that's a pretty neat tilt. 20 degrees, by the way. So distorted reality. And I think the big thing is getting back to the molehill. This is a termite hill in Africa. They are just huge. They're all over the countryside. But Alexander Graham Bell said when one door closes, another opens. But often we're looking too far back in the regret. So regret is important. But again, not letting it own your regret. This picture was taken the day of the tornado in Saskatchewan. Brent Wetterstrand is connected to him through Twitter. It's an amazing picture. It has nothing to do with my presentation. Actually, it does. There's a lot of storms in life. And the Stockdale paradox in his book, Good to Great, they say that retain faith that you will prevail while confronting the brutal facts. And again, if this isn't a project, if this is some situation at work, retaining that faith that, hey, we're going to make it through this. We're going to survive. Don't tap. This is my son, Noah. And I got another story on this one, but I'll be quick. Oh, I only got 14 minutes. You'll have to look on my website. Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character hope. And 12:15? Oh, okay. So my son's story is, again, another preventable injury. My wife bought a croquet set at a garage sale, and underneath that croquet set was a set of lawn darts. And that eye missed having a lawn dart thrown into it by millimeters. He was on the swing, and his sister was trying to see if she could throw it over his head. My regret was I didn't throw it away right away. I threw them out as soon as we got back from the hospital. But you know what? That was just about too late. I am so fortunate that he didn't end up with that right in his eye. You can't even tell on him now. Acceptance. Don't allow regret to define you, but define what your regrets are. So you're doing the woe is me thing, I don't know, that doesn't work. But you can say, hey, what can I learn from that regret? Adaptation, I had some of that too. I can move those things around like crazy. That was like a door prize thing at the PDC here a couple years back when we were prizes. I thought, yeah, right. I mean, you see that big hole? I couldn't even take keys out of my pocket to start with. First time I went for a drive, I got in there and I was putting my keys in my right hand, and I was like, I know my keys are in my pocket. I was like, oh yeah, there's that hole there. Big. He's going on the left side. Adaptation. Sometimes I type with this thing on my hand, just in my hand, gets cold a lot. One of my cubicle mates looked like Michael Jackson. I told him to beat it. And healing. If one part of the body suffers, every part suffers with it. That's your routine, that's your project. That one thing can impact a lot of things if you don't take care of it. My hand here, in this picture, is kind of amplified just a little bit. Very furry. It was on the verge of gross. I actually shaved my hand because it was just way too much hair. But the doctor said your body is throwing a whole pile of nutrients at your hand. Here's a common regret philosophy. I'd rather regret the things I've done than regret the things I haven't done. I'm not saying that's bad. That's a common philosophy. If you did this, you may have some more regrets in your life. I'd say this is an inaccurate assessment. Only regrets are the risk you didn't take. I think everybody today has the opportunity to go outside and do something you regret. Like, say, run across the road when the light's green going the other way. There's all sorts of opportunities for regret. You don't take those risks just to take them. In projects, we don't take those risks just to take them. We mitigate that. Regrets are easy to attain, but require humility to learn from. And I think that's a big thing. Sometimes people, again, when you're falling down, you get up, you look around, make sure nobody saw me. But that humility is important. You pay the tuition, learn a lesson. So there's a reason you've got that there. And people say live life through the windshield. But I would just say make sure you look and see what's behind you. Okay? So that storm that you went through, that still helped shape and mold your character. It still helped mold and shape this project. What can you learn from that storm that'll help you moving forward? Whenever I show up on this side of the province, I'm going to make sure I have good tires on my vehicle. I don't know, whatever. John Maxwell says in his book, Falling Forward, there's blaming mistakes and then there's taking responsibility. Repeating mistakes or learning from mistakes. Never expecting failure or saying failure is part of progress. Henry Ford said failure is the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. I think if you watch somebody who does pole vault or high jump, they go, oh, I failed. Oh, well. They go, no, now I know what I have to try and work at. For me, I mean, it's 2.2 meters. I could get on a catapult and get over there. Empowered. So empowerment comes when you say, whoa, why am I regretting this? What could have I done differently? And you're empowered when the regret first happens. That's why Prince 2 says to document your lessons learned during the project. Don't wait for a specific spot. Document when it happens. I knew I shouldn't have done that. So when you're saying these words, I knew I shouldn't have done that, what should you have done? And it's funny how many solutions you have right after the incident. Immediately after, you go, oh, this is what I should have done. Write it down. Tell somebody else about it. Well, what's a triggering event? What was the first thing? Proverb says, as a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. I thought I would just go with the text on this one. That's what regret is to me now. Reflection and improvement. So what has happened? Okay, it's happened. Can I change it? Yes, maybe no. If I can't change it, what can I do about it? How can I use it to improve? And that's really what I hope to get across to you in today's session. Is not looking at it in a negative light and saying, hey, this happened. This picture I drew. I drew it 19 days before my injury. That's a strange thing. My daughter was going through her art book. She's like, hey, Dad, remember we were taking this art class together? And I guess I kind of regret not spending some time in drawing again. I can write perfectly fine with my right hand. But this is actually my left hand. But how many people would have pictures of their hands just before an injury like this? But I have definitely used it for reflection and improvement. The outcome has been very positive for me. My neighbor said to my mom, she said, if anybody knows how to use this, Duane will know. He'll know what to do. And I'd say that I just turned it into saying, hey, how can I help somebody else? What's in your hands? What regret do you have that may be beneficial for somebody on your project team? Might be beneficial for somebody in your office. Might be beneficial for your wife to know. What regret do you have? And how can you use it to help someone else? See, the chain I use is something, sort of a symbol, this weight, this thing that binds you. But chain has a purpose. The chain is used to pull somebody else out. Do you have regrets that you can pull somebody else out with? Do you have some way to help other people around you? I would urge you to look for that and try and figure out how you can help someone else. And that is unleashing the power of regret. Thank you.